What is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to That's a Shoot, my weekly episode show with what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. And what we have is Wrestlepalooza happening this Saturday, tomorrow to be exact, live from Indianapolis, Indiana, the first on ESPN, the first premium live event on ESPN. And this could, and from what has been said in the past, this could actually turn out to be an every year thing, which I would not mind. Every year thing. And in fact, what I would probably do is that I probably would take War Games away from Survivor Series and that Wrestlepalooza have War Games. Right? I think that works. So I think that's a very interesting topic to talk about. We may talk about that in the future, but we are here today to do predicting. Yeah, do predicting. And so we're going to go ahead and predict. There's been 5 matches that have been so far announced. There's a possibility that one could be announced tonight on SmackDown. If it is, you can make sure you come back to this video later this evening or early tomorrow afternoon, and I will have the prediction for the 6th match in the comment section waiting for you. But while there's only 5, let's go ahead and let's talk about it, as our good friend Trick Williams would say. It's all to predict. Okay, so announced on the Pat McAfee show, they're actually going to do the main event first. They did this a couple years ago, 2016, 2017, where I believe the main event was the triple threat match between Dean Ambrose, John Cena, and AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. And they had that match. Jesus Christ, I have no idea what happened there. They had that match go on first. So I think this could what they'll be doing here. And then you ask, what goes on last? Well, I think what goes on last, it depends. If Roman Reigns is back, or Roman Reigns is not necessarily back, but Roman Reigns can make an appearance, then I think that goes on last, because you want Roman Reigns to go on last. You want just like they did for the Bad Blood pay-per-view last year, when they had Drew and Punk go on first, when that was probably should have been the main event, especially with all the blood loss. But they had to go on last because The Rock made an appearance, so that could be happening tonight. So we'll see. But I have decided to go for Brock Lesnar. I think John Cena beating Lesnar is something that is totally plausible. But I can't also help but have a feeling that, that these next few times we're seeing John Cena, he's gonna go out on his shield like he wants to. I think there's a possibility that his last match could be against Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. It's the only thing that he has not won in WWE, the Intercontinental Championship. And him walking away as the Intercontinental Champion could be very well. And then you have a tournament, see who becomes the next one. Or maybe you do something shocking and just get rid of it altogether. You get the United States Championship, maybe you should just go with that. Maybe, I'm not sure. I'm still trying to find a way to get all of these belts, some of the belts to be, unified. Apologize for the yawn. I'm just always gonna be yawn. I don't know if I'm ever gonna have good enough sleep to the point to where I'm not tired and I'll be doing any of these videos and I won't yawn. So I don't know if I ever get to that. At 43 years old, it's not gonna get any better. So anyway, but I am going to pick Brock Lesnar because I think Brock Lesnar. I just think that you beat Brock. You know, I don't know what you do with Brock Lesnar. I think that since Brock Lesnar is back, I think the obvious thing to do is to have Brock Lesnar versus Gunther at a WrestleMania. You couldn't do it a couple years ago. He's back now, so you do it now. But we'll see. But I am choosing Brock Lesnar. Next, for the WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes. This could also be the main event as well, since it's the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes taking on Drew McIntyre. I know a lot of people want Drew McIntyre to hold the WWE Championship. Drew has done so much good since he turned heel. It's been great character work because the thing with Punk was magical. One of the great feuds in the history of the business. Ended up with an all-time classic match, a top 10 match in WWE's history. Incredible. And most people thought that his feud with Damian Priest wasn't beneath him, but I don't think it was. I thought it was great. And he's come back, and then people thought, oh, now he's in a tag match with Jelly Roll. Well, the tag match was very good. Very good. Jelly Roll did an excellent job. Again, what's wrong? So now he's back into the main event picture, and I think that's one of the things that you have to do to get there. But listen, I don't ever see let me put it like this. I think there is totally a chance of Drew McIntyre becoming another heavyweight champion again. I don't know if it comes at the expense of Cody Rhodes, though. So I think Cody Rhodes is the guy, and him winning it back at SummerSlam, I think he's going to hold it probably until WrestleMania. And then so then who happens at WrestleMania? Well, at some point, I've been meaning to do a predicting the WrestleMania 42 card. At some point, I need to, I need to go ahead and do that video because I think I have an interesting theory on that. But I'm gonna say Cody Rhodes retains the WWE Championship. Next, for the Bacon WWE World Women's Heavyweight Championship, Io Sky taking on Stephanie McCurry. I think this may be the easiest one to do because I think this one goes to Stephanie. I think she's been hot. Listen, she's been off television for or having wrestled live on television for weeks. Because of the whole situation with her and Io and things like that. And apparently she's also been taking some English classes to try to get better at her English for her promos. So she hasn't been on TV. She hasn't wrestled in almost maybe 4 weeks, and she finally got on wrestling this Monday, and she wrestled Tuesday at the NXT Homecoming. So, and she was still in both days, still over. The Devil's Kiss is still over. She has not lost anything, and that's probably helps with her and her work and what she does. So, and I think you can kind of see what's going on with Io Sky and Asuka and Kairi. That there needs to be something there. And yes, while you could put the title on Io, hold on. So as I was saying, yeah, you could do the Io Sky wins the championship, and then have her, and then you have a thing with her and Asuka, But the third Oscar doesn't need the championship. This is, because what they are talking about, this is almost as if it's like, this almost is like a thing where Oscar feels like Io is turning her back on her, like she is becoming too big for her. And she's trying to keep everybody away from becoming friends with Io. Rhea Ripley, go away. Nikki Bella, go away. Stephanie Vaquer, go away. So she's almost trying too overprotective of Io, and she's probably feeling like the Io isn't, that she feels ungrateful. She thinks Io is ungrateful or whatever. So that doesn't necessarily need a championship, although you can have it definitely see it. But I think with Stephanie, it's just time, and this is a good time to do it because, listen, Naomi she had just become great with her character, and she deserved a run with the championship, and then you had Stephanie Vaquer. That was supposed to be a clash at Paris, and then you also got, Crown Jewel in Australia coming up as well, and I'm sure Rhea Ripley is going to be in that one, going for the championship. So this is a great time for it, to put it on Stephanie. And listen, even as I say that, I don't think you need to put the title on Rhea Ripley. I would have thought that if what's her face, if Naomi didn't get pregnant, I would have been okay with Naomi having a run and then putting the title on Stephanie, and then maybe putting it back on Rhea, and then maybe putting it back on Naomi, like at the Rumble or somewhere like that, or somewhere around that time, and then have her hold it for a little bit until someone would cash in on her or something like that. I think that would have been a perfect way of going about that. But now that since Naomi not in the picture, I think they're trying to make Stephanie a star. I think you have to put the championship onto Stephanie, and I do think that Rhea Ripley doesn't get to she unfortunately doesn't get to have that moment in Australia like she had last year against Nia Jax, or 2 years ago, whenever that was. So I think that you now go into Crown Jewel, Stephanie and Rhea Ripley as your main event, and I think they'll put on a tremendous match. But I think Stephanie keeps the title. I think she keeps the title again until WrestleMania. But actually, I wouldn't say that. Actually, I don't say that because I actually think that you could probably. Well, I would say this. It depends. Depends on what happened with Becky Lynch. Because again, Becky probably needs to have the World Heavyweight Championship at some point. With the work that she's doing. Now she's making the Intercontinental Championship good, and at some point her and AJ Lee's gonna fight for the Intercontinental Championship. But I do think that maybe Becky could hold the World Championship. Because I think Seth Rollins, at some point is going to lose it as well. So we'll see. But yeah, all that being said, I am choosing Stephanie Vaquer to become the new Women's World Heavyweight Champion. In a mixed tag match, CM Punk and Seth Rollins takes on AJ Lee. No. CM Punk and AJ Lee, takes on Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Now, what does this lead to? I think the next one is the Crown Jewel event, right? I think that the next one is the Crown Jewel event, and I think that leads to both of those matches at Crown Jewel. I think in Australia, I think we have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at Crown Jewel, and we have Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee for the Intercontinental Championship at Crown Jewel as well. But to do that, you need to have some #1 contenders, And what better way to make number one contenders is to have to beat them in a match. And I would think how the match goes is that it's your normal run of the real match, but like you have to like some mixed tag stuff. I'm sure they'll do some other spots that'll make it a lot better. These four, well, at least these three, we don't know how well AJ Lee is gonna be. She may be rusty, she may not be. Who knows? But I think this is the first match we can and we should forgive her for anything that doesn't look good or correct in this first match. I'm sure she and maybe even her and Becky are practicing before shows. They are in Becky's home or something like that, or they're at the performance center going over the match. So I'm sure that's everything to do it. I would think that this match is going to be as heavily scripted as the Ronda Rousey Kurt Angle Stephanie McMahon Triple H match. That was heavily scripted and heavily rehearsed. That's why it was so damn good. And I think at least this first part, I think is probably going to be the same. It's probably heavily scripted and heavily rehearsed. But I would say this. I would think this would end up with a double pin, a double visual pin. I don't know who would have to be the legal person, but I would think that that AJ Lee and CM Punk will have Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch on their on their shoulders, each given a GTS. And I think AJ Lee will pin Becky Lynch, and CM Punk will either pin Seth Rollins, or Seth Rollins will go to the outside and CM Punk will be in the ring as AJ Lee pins Becky Lynch. So I think the winners of this match are CM Punk and AJ Lee. And finally, the tag match between the Usos and the Bronsons, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, are here. I think this is, I think this is going to be pretty good. I think they're not going to do the standard template tag match. I think we're going to get a lot of other stuff going in with this. Again, we never know. Paul Heyman was with Seth Rollins this week on First Take, promoting WrestlePalooza. So he could be back for both the both tag matches with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, and then also with Breaker and Reed. And Braun Breaker, he mentioned he was also, everybody's been on ESPN this week, and I've been loving it for the most part. Get Up and on First Take, they're doing the radio show in the morning. So they all been in there. Bronson was on, and he mentioned about the fact that that they're looking to beat the Usos, and then next they're looking for tag team gold. And I think that's great. I think that's a great story. And I would love to see it. And I think you can do it without beating the Usos. Totally think that you can do it. I think the Usos can win. I think the Usos should win. And again, we'll see about the whole Roman thing and everything like that. But I am predicting the Usos to win this match. But then I am also predicting the next couple of weeks, Bronson Reed and the Bronsons will either get their win back, or they'll do something to put the Usos on the shelf for a week, and in that next week they'll take on the Judgment Day, and they'll win. Or it could be like a fatal four-way triple threat match, something like that, where both teams, the Usos and the Bronsons, along with Judgment Day and another team, could be in this whole match, and then that could be how you get the titles onto Bronson and Braun. So, but I should call him Braun. There's only one Braun, and that's the NBA Braun. Bronson and Breaker. So, yeah, I'm predicting the Usos to beat the Vision. Alright, folks, so let's like I said, I have the Usos to beat the Vision. I have CM Punk and AJ Lee to win their match. Stephanie Vaquer to become the new Women's World Heavyweight Champion. Cody Rhodes retaining the WWE Championship. And I have Brock Lesnar beating John Cena. So we will see what happens. We've got this coming up tomorrow night, Wrestlepalooza, the first on ESPN. I don't think I'm going to get it, so I have to order the. But I already got Disney and Hulu. I'm just gonna add the ESPN thing to the bundle and get that. And then I also have to. So that'll be okay. And then next week is also NXT time. It's NXT No Mercy, so we'll be back here next week for an NXT predictions episode that you don't want to not gonna want to miss. So that's gonna be awesome. And as always, after Wrestlepalooza tomorrow night, I'll be live going over what went down on Wrestlepalooza. Any surprises, any special guests. We should see a lot of ESPN people. Pat McAfee's going to be there. Stephen A. might be there. A few of the other people might be there as well. And if you haven't seen it, I would advise you go and check out Stephen A.'s list today from First Take of the top 5 his top 5 wrestlers of all time. It is causing waves in the wrestling community because of his #1 guy. And I won't tell you, I won't spoil the surprise. But if you have not seen it, go and see it. You can see it on Twitter, and I'm sure it's probably there on YouTube and Instagram as well. So, but mainly check Twitter, the First Take Twitter account. It should be up there. So yeah, this is gonna be exciting, y'all. ESPN's first live event. It should be fun. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know your predictions. Let me know what you think of my predictions. And don't forget, if there is a 6th match made tonight on SmackDown, I will make sure to put it in the comment section of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.